It's about connections because anything and anyone in isolation only means but so much. It's those people and circumstances and things that you can become a part of that are the point, and they fulfill what I think we are meant to be as people. It's not about me. It's about what have I been part of? Whom have I helped influence? Who is going to be here after I'm gone? Who's going to speak my name in positive terms when I'm not in the room and when I'm no longer able to be?
This one is so special. My dear friend Arthur Baker agreed to come hang out with me and record this episode. Arthur and I met at MasterCard. He was a client, and we just hit it off right away. He's a visionary thinker, a brilliant communicator, and a strategic secret weapon for C-suite executives. In fact, he calls himself an executive consigliere. And if you don't know, this is the mob boss's right-hand man. It's Tom in The Godfather, the advisor. I love this, of course, because my book, which is launching November 21st, is full of Sopranos, Goodfellas, and Godfather references. Arthur's take on executive presence, AI as an asset, and how to not become robotic, and navigating the complexities of life gave me so many ideas and so much energy. This one will leave you truly inspired. I'm Danielle Krischik, and this is The Story Effect. Arthur, you are the perfect person to ask this question because you have worked in so many different environments with so many different types of leaders. I feel that the landscape is so different today than it ever has been before. And I know leaders are struggling with trying to figure out how to do this in 2025. What do you think they are struggling with most?
That is a very astute observation. I think we're living through what I would call a leadership identity crisis. In a very compressed time frame, we have experienced a global pandemic. We've welcomed a whole workforce who've lived most of their lives on a screen. And we're seeing the rise of machines now who can do much of what we consider human work. And at the helm of all that, we have a generation of people who probably never wanted to be at the helm. And that's our generation, the Xers. So it's an interesting point in time where I think you've seen a lot of people progress in their careers. We have through our outputs and productivity, and not as much focus on how we get along with others, how we influence others, and how we look after others. So we are kind of the generation of creators, whether it's musically, fashion-wise. We were very rebellious, and we like to do cool stuff, and we don't want to be bothered. So now you have the counter authority culture. You know, we rebelled against authority. Now we are the authority. We used to think about cutting class. Now we're teaching class. And what a mental transition, what an evolutionary social transition that has been. And I think there's an importance on bringing things back to basics, reminding people what it is in terms of the requirement, the responsibility, but also the privilege of leading people and being put in a position to influence people's careers and their mindsets and their day-to-day work is huge. But it's not as complicated as we sometimes make it out to be. It can actually be a very enriching experience if you let it flow and don't encumber it with some of the things we encumber it with.
That's so well said. I love that you said the privilege of leading people, because I think we over-index on the responsibility, we over-index on the KPIs and all the things we're on the hook for, but I don't think we ever see it as this privilege because we don't have time to even allow ourselves, or we don't think we have time to allow ourselves to enjoy it. And it's so rewarding and satisfying to inspire a group of people, care about a group of people, serve a group of people, but we never think about it that way.
That at the end of the day, that is really the magic and the power of what coming together for a purpose, whether it's in a company, a not-for-profit, a church group, a community group, coming together with others to achieve a goal. And knowing that we are of like mind and like purpose is huge. I think it's one of the most important and influential parts of human endeavor and human life. And we need to reflect and give ourselves a beat to really embrace that and really immerse in it. And KPIs are great, technology is awesome, but at the heart, there are human things going on, or at least things that are going on in the service of human beings that shouldn't be lost.
Yes. I love that you said that. That's my whole the kick I'm on is to humanize the workforce. I think
Oh, and what a
we
kick you are
have
on.
lost that. Oh, it's
I,
huge
I
though,
wanted to
right?
start off by thanking you for having me and for congratulating you on this platform, the book, and just for unleashing all of the creative energy and goodness that I have known of you for many years out into the ether and letting it ripple and letting it touch and influence others. Because that's magical. And I'm very happy, pleased, honored to like follow along and say, hey, I know her. Look at what
Oh,
she's doing.
you're
So
thank you. That is so kind. I really this is new, all new for me. This is a culmination of over a decade of really focusing on internal culture and storytelling and communications and how can we do it better, different. It is rebellious in some ways, and I think you and I kinda have that in common because we kinda look around the room and we're like, "Yeah, this is all kind of BS, and we could do this better." Right? Right? Like, truthfully, like, how many air quotes initiatives have we embarked on, even in, like, communications where we're like, "This is bullshit." Right?
Danielle, I love the authenticity of what you have just said. So there was a movement of time. I think it was early in my working life, early in my career, where it was whether you're reading the habits of effective people or the things that impactful people do. That's great. I'm all for learning. I consider myself a lifelong learner, but I think there was a tendency to over-index in those tips, tricks, and templates. So what you ended up with is a workplace and work environment where everyone sounded the same. Everybody is to your point. Everybody, thank you for the feedback, and it's like it's very robotic. We look at AI now, and it's like we were kind of raised as a corporate culture to be kind of AI like, programmatic. Here's your program. Run your script. Here's what you're supposed to say when they say this. Here's when this point in the meeting comes, you do. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's effective, I guess, but didn't they hire us all because of what we bring as people, as individuals, as thinking, functioning entities versus just run the script? And so that's why it becomes a special, it's an irony, it's fascinating to me to see the rise of AI because AI is now doing what we were kind of taught that this is how you get along in corporate life. And it's now, it can do that better than it can give a best rendition of name your favorite speaker, name your TED talker better than you can. So, what becomes the advantage then? Where is your advantage? Being the best you that you can be. I have like anecdotes about people in life whom I have learned from, been inspired by, which is important, but people who I ended up emulating to a point where it's like I am giving my best rendition of somebody else. It's like if you put me in a spy movie and said, Arthur, you're in this movie, you're playing a spy. And I say, okay, so I'm going to play Sean Connery playing a spy. I'm going to give you my best Denzel Washington as a postman. You want this letter? You really want this letter? Like, okay, how many layers of abstraction? You put me in this role because you want me in the role. I'm, assuming. So I'm kind of doing you a disservice by not bringing myself to the role and instead bringing somebody else whom I admire and might be an awesome person, but they're not here right now. I'm here. So how can we make the most of that?
I that is exactly who you are, and that's why I loved you from meeting number one. We met. We were discussing a culture initiative and kind of where the communications extensions were of that. And we had this meeting. It's like, oh, this is Arthur, and I mean, you just opened your mouth and you were so real and so refreshing. And it wasn't this typical corporate stiff meeting that we had, prior to. And I was just like, I left the room, and I've told you this before. I left the room and I said, oh my gosh, we have to find a way to work with him more. Like, I love that guy. And the next thing you know, we had the privilege of having dinner together. And it's just like, it was fast friends from the
Serendipity.
beginning.
Serendipity. Things work. The right people and the right circumstances tend to find each other. I appreciate that comment. Understand that the point in my career where you met me, I had been a work in progress. I consider myself still a work in progress. But that person who could be refreshingly themselves did not just happen. That was not the initial Arthur in working life. I can take you back to that person if you want.
I would love to hear about that. So great segue. Tell me about, I want to hear your story. Let's get into it.
Young black man raised in South Jamaica, Queens, New York City. Very smart, had parents who taught me the importance of education and of excellence, and who ingrained in me that to get to where I wanted to be in life and where they expected me to be in life, I would have to work harder than a lot of people, and I would have to really be about what I was about. I had the privilege and the opportunity to attend Syracuse University, and not just attend Syracuse University, the Newhouse School of Public Communications. I will not repress that name because I'm hugely proud of that. Got to study with some awesome and be taught by rock star level people. Um, Made my foray into corporate life. One of the first things that I will say is interesting about how we treat and train, excuse me, young people coming out of university. So I was I was a dual major, marketing and advertising. So I was advertising major in the Newhouse School. And everyone whom I was in classes with was either going to come out as a copywriter or a media planner, and we were all going to go work for Saatchi and Saatchi or list three other top firms. That door is only but so wide, and you send everyone running to those doors, it's not all going to work out. Sure enough, it didn't. I didn't end up as a media planner working in marketing. I ended up as an associate marketing manager at an environmental engineering firm
What?
because, yeah, Hazen and Sawyer, PC in New York City. Great little firm. They designed wastewater treatment plants for the city of New York, Croton on Hudson, and some other like high profile projects about wastewater treatment. The thing that they were at journey wise was they had just launched their first website. And back then, a website was a big deal and no one knew how to operate one. These are the days of just HTML for dummies. And it's like, hey, this young guy coming out of college, he can do this work. He can do this. Let's let him be our webmaster slash associate marketing manager. So I helped put together proposals, and when we did ads in professional organizations would have their events and dinners, and we had our little vignette in there, our little placard. I'd help design those, and that was a cool experience. It taught me a lot about purpose-driven work because I mean these folks were building projects that would help clean the environment and make sure that people had clean water to drink and to bathe in, etc. So that was really, really cool. My foray into corporate life proper, um, I was called by an insurance brokerage, and they had a marketing job. But here's the thing: you won't be marketing to anyone outside the company. It's all people inside the company because we have some folks who have done this business for a long time, and they are really good at it. You give them a napkin and an hour, and they'll write you millions of dollars of business. But here's the thing: we've invested a lot in this technology stuff, and they don't get it. They don't believe in it, and we need someone who can walk like they walk, talk like they talk, have meetings with them, have them take this technology platform seriously. Because at the end of the day, if we've had a client for the last 20 years and we have all of their risk exposure information, we know how many plants you have, how many trucks you have, how many employees, we know everything about you. The cost of taking your business elsewhere, at least back then, would be prohibitive. And the technology had those data points, it had the analytics, and had all that cool stuff. And it's a competitive event. So come and sell our technology to the people who work here because they don't believe it. So that was my introduction to corporate life. Now, during that job, and I was hired by a fantastic person. I said I'm not naming any names. I'm naming Sherry Lindenberg, who gave me one of my first actual corporate gigs And she was one of the best bosses ever. She treated her people with such care. She invested so much in us in terms of time, focus, and belief. And when she saw opportunities to connect us with others that could take us further, she did not hesitate to do so. So I was a junior underling, knee high to a can of paint, and she took me when she went to meet our chief marketing officer for the first time. Took me along with him to help for the young guy to help explain to him why. Well, when you look up Marsh, and Marsh is the biggest insurance company in the world, Marsh Supermarkets comes up. That used to piss him off. Yeah, why is this happening? What is it? I said, well, there's some things in the coding of your website, sir, that you can put in so that Yahoo and web crawler and Excite will find you. Yeah, that's the days we're talking about. We're talking back in the day. And then there was another very influential person that she introduced me to, who would become my lifelong mentor, and I call him my professional father. And this man, he's gonna get me for saying it. Armand Alvarez. Armand Alvarez is one of the most magnificent human people you will ever meet. His presence. They have that commercial about the most interesting man in the world. No, this is the most interesting man in the world. You could, when he speaks, rooms are captivating. People hang on his every word. He has such a charisma and such a way about him that just he becomes fascinating. You could take him to any corner on any street, probably in the continental anywhere, spin him around and say, where's a good place we can go for tapas? Where's some good Mediterranean food? Not only would he know the restaurant and the spot, but they probably had a table reserved for him. That was the person who Sherry aligned me with. And just as you described our first meeting, he took a liking to me. And it's like he would take me along with him on client meetings and all kinds of things. And so I found myself in early life, I'm like, that's who I want to be. I learned from him. I was inspired by him, but I also mimicked him. I copied mannerisms, intonations. Some people who know me would say, oh, your phony business casual laugh, you got it from Armand. Like, yeah. If you see us in a room together, it's like, yeah, it's kind of goofy. And it's weird because we are culturally and diversity wise very different. This is a white man who is my professional father. And so and this was actually, I'm in corporate life trying to fit in, my little suit and my briefcase, trying to look the part, play the part, emulate whoever I could. This magnificent mentor of mine said, Arthur, when you have to understand that when you're in this corporate America context, any room you're in, no matter who's there, the CEO, heads of state, heads of businesses, whenever you open your mouth, everyone in that room is going to pay strict attention to you. Because quite candidly, we haven't seen much of the likes of you in this space. Use that power. Lean into it. Understand that they're going to listen to your every word, so make sure you have something good to say. He said, you are a powerful black man in a place where not many powerful black men get to play. So game on, go to it. And that was actually what was the difference between me delivering my best rendition of him and leaning into, okay, let me give you me. I can give you a reasonable version of him, passable version of him, but maybe I can give you an awesome, amazing version of me.
I have to ask you in this moment, it's brilliant. Was there fear? Like, ooh, I know it's working for him. So if I just kind of do what he does, I'm going to be good. If I bring me, what if they don't like me? What if they
don't like me? Well, you understand, as a creative and more importantly as a writer, one of the most fear gut-wrenching experiences is when we give someone else something we've written. Even when we get to the point that we do it for a living. Oh, they're looking at it. They're not going to understand. What if it's, we play that mental game with ourselves. So fear was always a part of the equation. And fear is part of the human equation. The key is to learn to overcome it, because my own personal philosophy is that human beings really do run. I can't stand when people say, well, there's two types of people in this world, and there's two kind of this in the world. But there's only two motivators, I think, for people. There are nuances and gradations of it: fear and love. Either I do things because I don't want something to happen, or I do things because of what I want to happen. And I am of the mind that when you do and commit yourself to what you do want to happen, better things happen than when you're doing that aversion and avoidance thing that not only is it sometimes natural for us to do, but in some contexts, in some spaces, we are taught to do to keep us in line. So overcoming fear is has been like a lifelong pursuit for me. You can't see him up here, but I have like two little masks up top here. One is the Batman and one is the Joker. The Batman is always very important to me because he became what he was most afraid of and used it as the lever to dispense what he thought should be dispensed onto the world. And that is, I see a lot of myself in that. Like, we're not doing fear. Fear is for others. We are here to be awesome and to save the city and to do what we came to do. But it's not easy. You have to have those moments. And you have to have those learning points. You have to have those. I remember my first ever science project I delivered in front of third grade class, and I could not speak. I used to be terrified of public speaking, terrified of it. I remember my
I
first.
can't imagine that.
It's true. I remember my first corporate conference call where I had to present and hearing all the beeps on the Polycom, and this is Phoenix, and this is Dallas, this is Atlanta, and I was scared out of my mind. I rambled through my little spiel, and then my manager at the time, he's like, "How do you think that went?" I went terrible. I was not. It was horrible. He was like, you know that because you're your own worst critic. I know that because I know you. Those people on the phone don't know that, and I bet you 5 of those people will call you in the next week to learn more about what you just presented. And sure enough, like 10 people called, and that
That's
was an
right.
important kind of okay. It didn't go perfect, but it went. And here we are. And some good actually came of it. And that's part of, I think, overcoming fear, is seeing that it's not the end of the world. Or as someone, I wish I could remember the person who said this. There's only one end of the world. And odds are it's not today. So.
I love that.
So let's go.
I love that so much. Let's go. Okay, so, but I think there's another part that I want to highlight because this is really helpful, especially for up and coming leaders stepping into these arenas where they're scared. Part of it is let's go. Get out there, be yourself, do it. It'll get easier the next time and the next time. Part of it is I bet you prepared because you said earlier, make sure you have something to say when you get into that room. Preparation's a big part of this. Like, did you write it, rehearse it? Did you practice in a mirror? Like, how did you prep for these moments?
So I think the one where I flubbed the worst, I wrote it and I rehearsed it so to a T that when something didn't quite go right, I'm off script. I'm off balance now. So as someone who has had the job of literally scripting others, I try to do 2 things. One, make the narrative as close to a conversational, something they would actually say in the way that they would actually say it. It helps them mentally. And 2, don't script all of it. Leave out parts on purpose. So you don't read this. I want you to anchor in this so that you can master the content. You internalize this content, then you can deliver it in different ways depending on who you're in front of, what the context is, what the situation is. You can vary it up because memorizing the comfort monitor is fine for big events and big moments. But you've come across the leaders who everything they ever do, anytime they're talking to people, their own teams, it's like one-to-one conversation. Do you have the comfort monitor up now? Really? Like, can we just talk as human beings here in this space, you and I? It's so performative to a fault. Like, it's not performance. This is life. Leading people is not performance. People have become so savvy and I think it's partially because all this period of influencers and everything is a setup and for clicks and likes. People can see through BS, like you said earlier, a lot better than they used to be able to. So when so if you come with a performance, they're gonna see through it. And if I'm in your corner, I don't want them to see through anything. I want them to, you make mistakes, I make mistakes. It's fine. We can flub this, flub that, but you came to it as yourself. You're not like, this is Arthur Baker, and I am speaking on behalf of the Arthur Baker Corporation of America. Like,
This is right.
come on, it's creepy.
Well, in the end, it's creepy, it's boring, and the science is against you on that one because the science will tell you that the brain won't, none of that will be memorable. If you're just on script, speaking facts, very dry, cut to the chase, like if you don't give this a narrative, personality, story, highs and lows, ups and downs, how you felt about this moment in your company and all of those things, it's forgettable and nobody will think, do, or act differently when they leave. It just that is the science of it.
One of the things that has been a pet peeve of mine is PowerPoint and how it has been used and misused. And there have been occasions where it's like, all right, you just delivered this presentation. Really, you could have just sent them the presentation. Everything is written on the slides. Fine. Just read that and be done. If you're not going to add anything, you're just going to stand in front of an audience of people and read some slides. Just save us all the time. Just send them the slides. You're up here, you should be adding something that is like, wow, I am really energized to dig in to what's in those slides later, to really absorb that content. But it's about that feeling of engagement that you created in that moment with those people. That's what's important. I love presenters that will have like a picture of a duck on the slide. And it's like, you might be wondering what this means. And then they proceed to weave you a story, tell you a tale. One of the best communicators that I think I have ever gotten to witness was Ajay Banga, who was former CEO of MasterCard, now runs the World Bank. And one of the things that he used to say to his leadership team is, I want you to speak plainly. Like, yeah, we all get you're smart. You can talk in these lofty platitudes and use these words that no one understands and all these acronyms. But how much more powerful if you can tell people something in a way that they can understand so they can follow you on a journey. That's leadership. People have to follow you on the journey. Don't confuse them to show how important you are. Make them feel like they get it. People who feel like they get it, that's when we talk about enablement, empowerment, people who take agency, people who are able to be true ambassadors and carriers of the work that they are doing. That's the power. It's the old command and control and look at me and I'm a wizard and I'm so much smarter than you only gets you so far. One guy's opinion.
No, but it's true. You can come in and you can command everybody to do something and they will do it. It's just not a long play. Because if I don't feel like I'm a part of this, if I'm not significant in this, if I don't see myself in the story, eventually some recruiter will call. I'm definitely picking up the phone because I do want to feel like I'm in this too.
What you're talking about here is now authority through authenticity versus assignment. You can hand anybody the clipboard and say, oh, you're in charge. But the challenge and where I have found my work and helping people is, can you make them believe? Can you make them buy it? Or are you just another talking head, empty suit, floating into that space and saying a bunch of things that no one understood and half of them didn't care about, and then you float it on? I don't want anyone I work for or work with to be that. I will push, I will challenge, I will entertain, I will make them laugh, I will make them cry, whatever. Like, we're gonna break through. You're gonna be a person that people say, hey, that's that person. She's something to follow. Yeah, he gets it. I'm with what they said. That's my job.
That's
better or worse. That's my job.
So how did you get to MasterCard? Talk about the journey from job number one to MasterCard, because that's where we met.
And what a journey it was. So after working at Marsh & McLennan Insurance Brokerage, I ended up with a string of gigs at investment banks. I worked for UBS, HSBC, Deutsche Bank. Love Deutsche Bank very much. Outside of MasterCard, my favorite place I've ever been where I really felt like I was part of the place was Deutsche Bank. Because, and ironically, people like the German bank, like, yes.
Right. Like it sounds very serious, Arthur. It sounds very
Very,
locked in and
very
serious.
serious. And that's why I loved it. Because if you were serious, if you were locked in, if you were nice with yours, come run with us. You're really good at what you do? Come. Because we are all top-notch hitters. If you can do this, that makes dollars and cents. So we don't care what you look like. We don't care where you came from. If you're really good, passion to perform was the tagline. And that used to give me chills. Like, yeah, that's what I'm here for. To be awesome. I'm not here to be a statistic. I'm not here to be a number. I'm not here to be the black guy. I'm here to be awesome. I want to be the best of the best of the best. I know that my kids are like, Dad, you're a bit much. Like, that's me. I don't want to just do anything. I want to be remembered for doing it.
I
So I love
love
Deutsche Bank.
that.
So I had a string of successful engagements at investment banks, usually working for the heads of IT and operations, being, as one of the leaders called it, his minister of propaganda. Communications people don't like when you say that, but people in general kind of laugh and they kind of snicker and they get it. So it's like, yeah, okay, I used something that's provocative, but yeah, that's the work. Um, MasterCard was an interesting inflection point for me. I remember I was ready to leave Deutsche Bank. And sometimes I wish I would have stayed at Deutsche Bank, honestly, because I just loved it there. Looking for more money, looking for a promotion, looking for the new title. Um, so I was interviewing with BlackRock and MasterCard. And that was like, they talk about the road diverges in the wood. That's the point where either you're going to go full dark side. You are that guy forever. You are Mr. Wall Street chasing that goal, as my brother would say. Or MasterCard, which was, for all intents and purposes, it was a financial technology company. They were very much about, we're not the credit card people. We're a technology company. No, seriously, guys. And they so wanted people to take them in a way that was different than how their parents and their grandparents and their grandparents' grandparents took it. They were trying to change. And I think that was part of the magic of the place, is that it realized that it wanted to and needed to be something different. And therefore, it was willing to inject some newness into how it did things. And so I got there and I interviewed there. And my first manager there, she will often say, the first thing you said when you got here was, I don't think I'm cool enough to work here. Because here I am, Mr. Deutsche Bank blue, blue suit, gray suit, black on special occasions. And these folks were in their blazers and shirts untucked. There were people in scooters scooting around. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Like, I don't think I'm cool enough to be here, but it gives me the giggles. And they took me. And oh, what an experience that was. When you put people in a place and you give them a directive, this is what we are trying to affect on the world. We are interested in what you have to bring to it. Come, let's play. Go play. MasterCard was one of the places where, and it's very rare in Fortune 500 life, you could come up with something, no matter who you were, and that idea would probably be listened to, and it might actually go somewhere. They were open to suggestion and to imagination. And that was truly awesome. For all, every workplace has its pluses, its minuses, ups and downs. But I truly loved that about that place. I feel like that was my home. It's like, this MasterCard headquarters was my house. Like, this is my house. Yeah, and I'm very protective of anything that comes through here because this is my house. And when I met you and the night agency and Hen, like, they belong here. These are my people. I've been waiting for you. Come,
I
come, come.
truthfully, Arthur, I didn't know if I was cool enough for MasterCard either. And I want to it's just a cool thing to talk about with you because, you were for all intents and purposes clients, the client, and we were the vendor, right? And I'll never forget this. You gave me one of my highlight career moments, one of my core memories. We were on the hook for articulating MasterCard's stance on inclusion and diversity. And those were the words at the time. And I did some listening sessions. We ran around the building. We met with you. We met with everybody and kind of went away. And I'm like, it isn't really, diversity is not enough. Like we have different faces, different races. Okay, that cool. Inclusion's not enough. Like we all have a seat at the table. We all have a voice. Like it's not enough. I feel like people want to feel like they can be themselves here and belong. And this was, I'm not saying I invented it. I believe Airbnb was the first to use the word, but I think MasterCard was one of the first. And I went away and I wrote this anthem about belonging. And we created a video. It was my voice. And we presented it, and you were in the room, and you stood up and gave me a standing ovation, and my heart just exploded. It was awesome.
I remember that moment, and I think it's almost a tear to your eye moment because those places that I truly loved working, so Mastercard and Deutsche before that, I felt patriotic about those places, and what you said in that anthem was, yeah, that's how I feel about this place. I feel not just that I work here, I feel like I belong here. Like, how dare I be anywhere else? This is my place. And what a magical feeling that is. Wake up in the morning and drive whatever commute across whatever bridge you got to go through. I'll be there every day, front and center.
Yep.
This is my place. I
Yep.
belong here.
It was so true. And by the way, if you look back at that anthem specifically, and people that understand comms and how all this works will nerd out on this, but there was no mention of there was no word MasterCard in that anthem. There was no mention of priceless. There was no initiatives, payments, electronic. There was none of that. It was, it takes some of us time to like what we see in the mirror. It takes some of us time to feel like we can be. It was really just a human story, and you'll appreciate this. I wrote that in 5 minutes. I panicked about it for 2 weeks, and I mean sheer panic because anybody listening, MasterCard is a logo on your resume, okay? I panicked for 2 weeks. I wrote it in 5 minutes, 0 edits. The voiceover was my first take. That's how much that came from my soul. That's how much I felt that. That was the spirit of the people.
Now you're giving away trade secrets.
I
The
know.
number of things that came together in that way, and I would never tell the people I was working for that that's the way it came about, but that's the truth of it. Inspirations, it strikes you. It's we spend a lot of time agonizing over things, but at the same time that we think we're stuck, we're actually immersed in the thing. We're thinking about it. We're soaking in it. And then at some point, the marinating takes place and it's like, oh, I got it. And wow, the creative process. And that's one of the reasons why when people try to bring and I'm all for rigor and discipline, you have to have that in corporate life, but when they try to apply these strict kind of cookie cutter methodologies to doing what we do, and say, oh, well, the chat GPT can do that. Like, no, not really. It can give you something. It might be a passable something, but it won't give you magic off rip.
No. You and I know that. I want to actually talk about this because you've really you've been using AI, I think, longer than most people I've spoken with. I'm feeling insecure lately because I feel like AI sounds like Danielle, the communicator, and it's freaking me out a little bit. And I know you're feeling that too. Like, talk to me about that.
AI has bit my style, to use a hip hop analogy. It's biting my rhymes. The way that I have written my entire life, AI and what people now consider kind of stereotypical AI phrasings of things, I've been an M- person from before anyone. I used to irritate some of my journalism professors. I was constantly using parentheses because my thought ain't complete. I still got a little something extra I got to say in here. And, oh, you don't like the parentheses? Okay, I'm going to put these little dashes in. because I'm still going to do this separation of thought that allows you to kind of, it's almost like a written, when you scroll over text on a website and it shows you some other text, it's like, there's another thought here. It's worth calling out. It's not part of the main sentence flow, but here you go. And just, getting people excited about something. Like, this is not what you think it is. This is not what you are used to. This is something new. This is something else. So it's not just this, it's this. Because I know what you're thinking. I say I'm a communications guy, and you're like, oh, you're going to write me an email. No, I'm not just an email writer. I'm a message maker. I'm an image builder. And that kind of set and structure, it's not just this is that, oh, the AI wrote that. If I could bring you stuff that I wrote in college before AI was a glimmer in anybody's eye, and you'd be like, they'd probably say, oh, AI wrote that. No, I wrote that.
Same. I'm in the same boat. Yeah.
So maybe I've been telling myself this to maybe feel better about it. In devising what perfect human writing looks like, they arrived at the fact that it's us. It's you. It's me. We do it. We do this thing the way it always should be done. So let's make the machine do that too. So, and now as I work with AI,
that could be it.
I literally, my friends who work in technology tell you what you put into it is what you get out of it. So if you just lazily say, hey, write my mom a card, find my mom's card, it'll give you something. But if you over time, like, no, I wouldn't say it this way. I'd do this. How about that? You iterate with it. You use it as a sounding board, a launching point, an inspiration when you're stuck. Like, I'm stuck here. You got anything? It's almost like just, pitching ideas with people over the cubicle wall in places where people would write, whether they were in a newsroom as journalists or ad copy people or whatever. You use it like that, it starts to learn and can start to iterate and generate, stuff that sounds more like you. Here's the thing, though. After the AI has learned you up to this point, you will change. You will be inspired by a butterfly outside. You will be inspired by a client conversation you just had, and you will be changed. And it can't keep up with that. You will come out of left field with things because it's like, okay, yeah, that was how we were doing it. We're doing it this way now. And that's the beauty of the human brain. It's not done. It's never done. And you can predictive analytic it to a point, but there will always be that 1%, that 0.5% where it's like, oh, it might just break out and just do something you did not see coming.
That goes back to your earlier point, which is don't wrap yourself into this small sandbox where you're so formulaic that you lose your humanness. That's it applies to your communication style at work, but it also applies to even the way you use AI. Like, don't become so formulaic that you lose your grittiness, your edge, your off-centerness. You probably saw it yesterday. I hesitated to do it, but I was like, I promised myself I'd post on LinkedIn every day. Yesterday I was talking about ghost cutout cookies.
The cookies.
That is so not my brand. Yes.
I saw
but
the cookies and I like the cookies.
Thank you. They came out cute, but you know what? Like, I hate baking, and like, why did I do that? But you know what? I don't want you to become used to my pattern either. I want to surprise you a little, and I want to show you that there's a softer side of me too. I think that's part of what makes us human. Yeah,
it's very smart, and there's value in doing certain things in ways that are very predictable and very static. I worked for banks. There are certain things that banks do that we should not take a lot of creative license with. But at the same time, outside of that space, and that is a very specific and very rarefied space, was like there are very few things in human endeavor that need to be like that. For everything else, like, I'm about to do a priceless ad. No, for everything else, nothing.
I hear it.
They got me. They're part of me and never won't be.
Yeah.
Oh my God. When I tell you, it's humorous. When I say patriotism, and I could commit career down to, like, there's certain plastic I can't have in my wallet. I just can't. It offends me. I see that. I'm like, yeah, no. I no. That's them. I can't pay using them. and it sticks to this day. I'm sorry. I think I lost your question. I'm gonna dry myself.
No, that's okay. I love that. Speaking of your passions, things that light you up, you've got a lot of sports behind you. I want to talk about that side of you.
so
Tell me about
iron-
the sports.
ironically, that sports part of me is very much part of why I felt at home in investment banking, part of why I enjoy the sport of business. I'm a very competitive person. I'm a very competitive minded person. And I love the concept of team. I love the concept of people working together to all the sports that you see represented behind me, even though there are some wonderful single person art forms, tennis, boxing, fine. But those aren't my favorites. It's when you get a group of people having to work together to an end and making that work that's magical to me. So you'll see Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd is one of the greatest point guards of all time. Point guard is an instrumental position on a basketball team for the uninitiated and the home gamers. You direct the offense. You are kind of leading the team. You decide who's getting the ball in traditional configurations of basketball. Very important role. This man could affect games without scoring a point. If you needed a rebound, he'd get it. So you needed a timely assist, a steal, whatever was necessary for his team to win, but he was especially good at assists. Assists is when you pass someone the ball and they score. So that means you got it to them in a moment where they were in prime position. Oh, you're ready to shoot. There you go. And I was watching a video short with some of his uh, former teammates, and they were quipping about how he was their favorite person to play with because it would be like you're just running the floor and all of a sudden the ball hits you in the chest. I am open. This is the spot where I took all those jumpers in practice. Thanks, Jason. It's like he found you just at the right moment so you could do your best work. Similar with a pitcher and the anchoring role they play on a baseball team in terms of orchestrating things. Orchestrators are very important to me. Leadership is important to me, so people who orchestrate are important. I have Carmelo Anthony, one of my favorite basketball players of all time. Syracuse great, Syracuse University grad, and I class of '96, right here looking at you. But he's there with Jim Boeheim. And the partnership between that coach and that player was something special and magical and led us to our one national title. The mentor and the executioner, the mentor and the student. And then up top is the Manning family, Archie and his two sons. Now, if I had two sons who I played football and was okay at it, and then my two sons won the Super Bowl, you wouldn't be able to. I would be so insufferable. You would never hear the end of me. And he did it, and that's an amazing thing. Legacy, that's important to me as well. My own son is in Paris Island, South Carolina right now. He 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 signed up to be a Marine. He's just now finished his trade. My son is no longer a USMC recruit. He is now a United States Marine as of this past Sunday. And
Wow,
I couldn't be more
congratulations.
proud. Thank you. It's ironic. It wasn't a path that I would have chosen for him or set for him. He picked it himself, and I'm really proud of him because he picked it himself. But he also kind of showed something to me about me. The principles and the kind of character that I raised him with made it a natural fit for him to be that and to choose to be that. Always do your job. When people are counting on you, make sure you are worth counting on. Death before dishonor. And that's a code that I came with from whence I came in the inner cities of New York City. He's the soldier I always was unofficially, off books. I was an amateur version. Now he's the real thing. And he's not a soldier, he's a Marine. Soldiers are Army, I know. But he's real deal. And I couldn't be more proud of him.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's talk about you have a couple of kids.
I have plenty of kids. I raised 9 and I have 6 original recipe, as I call them.
Oh my gosh, that's the cutest thing. Original recipe. I love that.
it's
You raised 9. Wow.
vibrant household, active household, busy household. I couldn't imagine anything but. Um, those ripples that I talk about and the influence on others, I think there's no more meaningful expression of that than being a parent. Um, but it's also it has that responsibility and it has that privilege. And it's heavy sometimes, but I'm here for it and they make me proud and I couldn't imagine anything but there's a lot of it's a lot of it's running a small organization. So people who have 3 kids or fewer, no, this is I'm gonna give you the secret sauce here. If you have 3 kids or fewer, you are doing what I grew up with as one of 3 children. Traditional parenting. So your parents are getting your lunch ready and your dinner ready and taking you to the bus and all that. You have more than 3, you have a small organization. You got dotted line reports. You're responsible for getting those 2 to the bus. You're responsible for making sure those 2 have peanut butter and jelly. You have people who are responsible for those who come after them. And it's an operational mindset. So there's an organizational culture here. There is a it's it's a my Wi-Fi is that of a small business, literally, because of the number of devices and things going on. So yeah, it permeates the things that I do and the environments I've been in have permeated like all of my life. Long-winded answer about the sports. You want to talk about the Wu-Tang? You want to talk about the wild things? What do you want to talk about?
Oh my God. Oh, I love that book. I didn't see
Oh
that
yeah.
before. I love
Oh
that
yeah.
book so much.
That's
Is that your favorite childhood book?
it's where I live and work. That's what I chose. Yeah, I read this in childhood, and then I went and worked at investment banks. I went where the wild things are,
Yeah, you did.
and it has made all the difference. It has made all the difference.
That that is so cool. I want to ask one more question about your kids. So the age range today is what to what?
The youngest is 8. The eldest is 25. So a lot of work has been done. I There are now 6 of the 9 are legal adults. Um, the middle one of the second set. I talk about my kids sometimes like fashion designers. This was the fall collection. We're rolling out the spring line, and but
I love that so much.
6 of them are over 18 now. So a lot of work has been done, but I still got 3 who are under that 11, 10, and 8. And so there's still work to be done. Those the gray hairs that you can't see, but they're here. I keep it short. I don't dye it, but I
No,
keep it low.
you're doing just fine. You got nothing. You got nothing showing. I'm curious, that people are going to hear that and think, "Oh my gosh, how do you have had a robust career. You have a robust career. 8 kids. What is
9,
the secret to all of it?
9.
Nine,
It's
very
all
nice. Yeah,
home
I
life
like
is
what is
greatly reconfigured since the pandemic, but yeah, 9, 9 at its height.
yeah. What has that taught you about yourself?
It's taught me the importance of patience. It's given me motivation. It's taught me that there is nothing I can't accomplish if there is a requirement important enough. So one of the things that I think had been a pattern. This is a weird thing. Um, but the woman who gave birth to all of these kids, at one point she said to me, "You realize every time I get pregnant again, you go and get another job making more money." So I don't know if you realize you do that. I'm like, holy smokes! Like you can almost chart my career path. It's like, all right, I've maxed out here. Okay, we need more. I'm going here. We've topped out here. I'm going here. And so they've been kind of momentum for me. I thrive on momentum. To answer the question better, I thrive on momentum, pressure, and duty and obligation. Thus, I raised the Marine in the group. It's like, give me a mission, and I am there for it.
I love it. I love it. And it explains why you have a lot of character. Even in the most serious moments under the pressure, you still maintain your character, your humanness, your personality. And I think that probably all played into it. It had to have.
Well, yeah, because I mean, with that many people in a family, there's ups, downs, sideways. Teaching these people that, you know what, you can't control most of what you will encounter in your day, but what you can control is yourself. And I have tried to impress that upon every child within listening distance, not just those I've raised, but any young person. You can't control the factors and things going on around you. But the key is control yourself. You will find that you can have more influence and more mastery over those other things than you think. But it starts with yourself.
Yes. Such good advice.
I try. I'm in the advice business.
You are. You are. And it falls short to call you even a communicator, because you really are a strategic thinker, and you're wise beyond your years, I will say. You do have really good advice. So now one of the things you're working on is you are a consultant for executives. I'd love you to just talk a little bit about that so people kind of understand how they can work with you.
You are far too kind. So as I like to say, I'm in between gigs, but still very much in season. So I'm at kind of a crossroads in life. I'm between formal employ, but thinking and reflecting and connecting with some of the folks whom I have done this work for. I have been someone who is the person in people's ear in times of transition, transformation, or outright trouble. I can help steady them so they can help steady others. I can help them find the words to reach others in ways that are meaningful, impactful, and can move things forward. I call myself an executive consigliere. Now, some people are like, oh, well, what is that? I'm the person in the boss's ear. Those who appreciate cinema and especially mob movies might be familiar with the term, but it's the advisor, it's the consultant, it's the power behind the throne. I'm not the name on the announcement, but I was behind the scenes. So what I'm looking to do now is take some of that energy, some of that ability, and turn it into something that maybe I can do outside of the confines of a formal corporate context. I'm not outside of looking for the next job. So, hey, like as mothers of Jim, hey, ladies, he's single. Like, hey, I'm available. Um, Look for me on LinkedIn. But I am looking to frame what I do into something that I might be able to take and mobilize to more people outside of one place that I might work. So the initial inceptions of it, and thank you for being part of the inspiration for me trying new things. I see you out there doing new things, even as I was doing, the same old boring things. And I'm like, hey, maybe we can push some envelopes here. So I'm building something I call Chef's Kiss, and it's a coaching and communications concept. It's about helping people who want to unlock their best professional selves to do just that. It's, your strategy meets your story and your story meets results, but it starts with you and your story. One of the first expressions of this, we talked about, putting things on LinkedIn, and it's kind of good to switch things up. I am forcing myself to be consistent about something. I have something going on now that I call the ABCs of executive presence. And it's kind of part campaign, part multimedia, expression of my core belief, which is that we have lost sight of some of the fundamentals of leadership in all of the data points and analytics and AI and technology and complexity. We have lost some of the bare bones human stuff that differentiates a great leader from a good leader, from a why are they even in the seat. So I have decided to strip it down one letter at a time, starting with A for authenticity and running through. Another thing that I believe in greatly is serendipity, and things happen for a reason. So just as you talked about doing that anthem in 5 minutes, I was at a local library with a former colleague of mine, guy who I used to do a podcast with at MasterCard. And he saw some of the video stuff I was putting online, and he's like, hey, I'm between gigs too. I can do video editing work. So he took some of my stuff and he just turned it into masterwork. So he's like, we should go film one day. You have a local library, we can go film some segments. And so we went to do that. We were in the children's room of the library, and I saw this alphabet rug. And we were close to the end of our film session. I said, Anthony, you know what I'm gonna do, right? I got it. I got it. I'm gonna sit crisscross applesauce on that rug, and I'm gonna freestyle the ABCs of executive presence. And he's like, go for it. So I literally, off the top of my head, just went through this spiel. And in looking at the footage after all the things we filmed, that hit. I'm like, there is something important about, being, first of all, a man of my stature to sit down on the floor of a library on a carpet. Humble yourself, bring yourself down, back to the basics, back to a childlike level. Strip away all of the hubris, strip away all of the pretense, and let's have a real conversation. And so I have started building what will, it's taken life already. I have like a YouTube channel now, which I didn't have before, and a Facebook group and some other stuff cooking up in the works. I'm working on a workshop. Stay tuned for that. But the concept is pure, and it's very me, and it's very what I see in this moment is needed. So that's what I'm doing to stay busy in the midst of submitting a bunch of resumes to the AI for them to kick out, and more importantly, for making connections with people whom it's been regrettably long since I've spoken to some people, and I have had the privilege of working with some incredible, incredible human beings, and I'm getting to get back in touch with them. Not to say, hey, you got a job for me, but hey, I'm still out here. And the fact that I'm out here shows that you mattered and you had an impact. You made a difference. I am one of your ripples, as you hopefully are part of one of mine. And that kind of human connectivity has been awesome. I've been helping some people as like impromptu clients with whether it's their LinkedIn presence, whether it's preparing for interviews, whether it's, hey, I'm up for this job, what would you recommend I, and a lot of these people are not in position to be like highly paying clients, but they're in the position that I'm in. I have these skills. I want to help people. What can we do? It's a community amongst people who are currently not being utilized to their fullest. And I will tell you, I don't know if we're not talking about current trends or anything here. It's not like a news program, but one of the things that impresses upon me about this point in history is how many people whom I know to be very, very good at their jobs and very, very good at what they do, not in jobs right now. Some of them are exploring hanging their own shingle, as I am, and saying, hey, how can I do this independently? And some of them are earnestly looking, and others still are taking the opportunity to connect with and help others, whether that's local community based. I got people who have become more active in their PTA and their parents associations, people who have become, hey, I have these kind of skills. I can help local businesses. It's important to stay up and to stay working. I say that in my videos. That's like my closing thing. Stay up, stay working, and most importantly,
Stay
stay
up.
you. Stay you.
Yeah.
And that's important because, one of the things that I think happens to us, especially those of us who have spent a long time doing this corporate life work, is that when it's suddenly not there, your sense of self-worth and self-value can diminish, along with the fact that you are on the bench, that you are not in play, and you start to question, you start to doubt. I would encourage anyone who finds themselves in that place, keep moving, keep doing stuff, that you do, and eventually the right circumstance, the right situation will work out for you. And that's what I'm doing. Eating my own cooking and keeping things rolling.
You are, and I just from watching from over here, down here in Orlando, I would say I'm watching you become more of yourself and in an even deeper version of yourself in this time period that you're in. That's what I'm seeing. And I think it's a beautiful thing because you have so much to give. And by the way, you downplayed it. Your ABC freestyle on the floor in the library. I don't know anybody listening that could come up with a word for every single letter of the alphabet, and you just flew through it like you rehearsed that. And I know you did it on the spot. That was next level.
On the spot. I'm part of the hip hop generation. I freestyle pretty well. But it all just started. It came to me. That rug unlocked something for me, and it made me happy. It made me happy, and that may be the secret sauce. And part of what artificial intelligence can't replicate or steal. That joy, what a person is capable of when they really feel that inspiration, that jolt of something extra, wherever it may come from.
Oh, it's so good. That leads beautifully into the last question I have for you, Arthur. I ask everyone this because I'm on a quest to know the answer, so I know you're going to have it. So, you have had a wonderful career, lots of different experiences. You've worked with amazing people. You've worked with people that you definitely don't want to be like, and everybody in between. You have 9 children, lover of sports, all of these things in your life. At the end of the day, though, what is it all about?
It's about connections. Because anything and anyone in isolation only means but so much. It's those people and circumstances and things that you can become a part of that are the point, I think. And they fulfill what I think we are meant to be as people. It's not about me. It's about what have I been part of? Whom have I helped influence? Who is going to be here after I'm gone? Who's going to speak my name in positive terms when I'm not in the room and when I'm no longer able to be in the room? So it's connection leading to legacy, and legacy leading to, man, I don't want to be corny, but what, there's I'm gonna go back to like an 80. I'm gonna go back to the 80s. Fame, that song and that I'm gonna live forever, baby, remember my name. My brother went to that school, the Fame school in the
No
LaGuardia.
way.
He did.
That is the coolest.
My brother is an Emmy Award-winning graphic artist who got his start in art and life, tracing pictures that I drew. So some of those Emmys that he has, I'm like, hey, I need my cut and my share. But yeah, I always, that immortality that comes from, it's beyond our humanness. I want to live forever. I want my name on that wall. I want my picture and my autograph on the wall. I want my jersey hung from the rafters. That's why I want people to remember I was here and that I mattered. There's not so much to ask.
I love that. No, it's not. And you are one of those people. You are one of the legends. And don't tell anybody, but you're my favorite. Arthur, I just adore you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I know you're usually on this side of the mic. For the record, flawless episode. And I appreciate you so much. I want to do a part 2 as you progress in your career and your endeavors, because we have a lot to talk about, and this just isn't enough time to talk about it all.
We'll call that episode, Look What the Story Effect Has Done for Me. It's my appearance. I'm doing the talk show circuit. I'm on TED stages. I'm on Fallon next week. Thank you, Danielle.
Fallon next week? Oh, yeah. I see it. I see it all and then some for you. You're just incredible. Thank you. It was so much fun. I love doing this with you, and we're going to do a part 2.
If you're ever looking for a co-host, you need like a Paul Schaefer or like a Roots band or whatever. Like, you're Ed McMahon. Yes, Danielle. Very correct.
Yeah. I'm going to take you up on that. I'm definitely going to take you up on that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to the show. We have some more incredible guests coming up, so click follow and you won't miss out. And if you have a story to tell or want to connect, visit thestoryeffect.com.